Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I am Pawala Dlamini and this is our first episode on our YouTube page where we'll be discussing PR marketing, artist and brand management. Thank you for joining us once again and welcome to the first episode. Make sure that you leave your comments below and share this video. Subscribe to our channel please, and make sure you turn on the notifications to get alerts whenever we post a new video. So on the first episode we're going to talk about the importance of a release plan. So this is for all the musicians, and I also think a release plan doesn't necessarily have to be around a music release. I think a release plan is as significant when you maybe a fashion designer and you're planning on debuting a new line. You wouldn't necessarily call it a release plan, but you have some sort of plan in place that you're going to implement to make sure that your fashion line is successful, or the release of your debut album or single or music video is successful. So a release plan is very important. It's just basically putting down all the plans that you have for that particular release in a document, and then further down, so we will be talking about how to implement the release plan later at a later stage, but for now we are going to talk about a release plan in a music setting. So if you are a musician, this is what you need for your release plan or for a successful release plan. So let's start with the basic, just elaborating on what a release plan is. I think it's in the name, a release plan. So it's the plans that you have for your release. So in this release plan, you'll put down every single detail, every single thing that you plan on doing for this release in this plan. So obviously before you can structure a release plan, I think it is important that you have the material. So in this case, that you have the song, the music already, the artwork, and therefore you can plan your release plan according to the theme of your song, so it goes hand in hand. So release plan is basically a marketing strategy. A release plan talks about what you're planning on doing with your music on the day of release and post-release. A release plan talk about the plans that you have on DSP platforms, social media platforms, television, radio. So you'll break it down. So in your release plan, you'll include the plans that you have for radio. So if it's a project, you'll include that one single will be serviced to radio. You can also highlight stations that you want to prioritize. So your release plan should be detailed. Go all out, dream big. I think when you set the bar high, you won't always reach the bar that you set, but if you set it high enough, you'll be able to measure kind of where you want to head with the project, and also measure what you got from the goal that you set for yourself. So in your release plan, go all out. It's literally all the ideas that you have around the release. You put it in a document, yeah, so so that is a release plan. Once again, I try to keep these videos as organic as possible. If there's any information that I get off the internet at the end of this video, I will definitely credit the sources, but otherwise this is information that I've also learned um, over the years, you know, as I also gain experience. So these are things that I pick up as I go, that I've learned, you know. So yeah, keep an eye out on the credits at the end of the video if there are any, so you'll know that those are my sources, but otherwise, you know. Yeah. Moving on to the next point, we're going to discuss what you actually include in a release plan. I think I just touched on it when I kind of explained what a release plan is, but what you include in a release plan is the following. I think the following is essential. So you are going to include your marketing plans. If you're drafting a press release, you are going to put in there, you know, there'll be a press release, a single press release that will be sent out to media. You know, if you're having a listening session, this is a listening session that we're going to host for these people. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have a song that you want to send to radio, you'll include that. Highlight your main or your priority stations and blogs, magazines, newspapers, you know, that you want to prioritize, that you see yourself featured on, you know. You'll also include plans if you are planning on shooting a music video. That is something that you'll include. Also the distribution of the video. You'll include dates. So dates on when you're doing what. So if you know that on the 16th of December you're releasing the single, you put it in the 16th December single release. But then on the 6th of December, that's when you're going to reveal the artwork. So you include detail. So social media plans, you include that. Dates, be specific. First week of December, we're rolling out the artwork. Second week of December, we're giving people the listen link. Third week, we're releasing teasers, or we're going live with TikTok challenges. And why it's important to include every single detail of your release in a release plan is because a release plan is also something that you can send to DSPs when you are pitching for playlists. So by that I mean, everyone knows the Amapiano Grooves playlist on Spotify. Artists that are featured on that playlist pitch for their spot on that playlist. You know, it's not random, etc. So the streaming platform, meaning Spotify, would have to get the content ahead of time. We'll have to get the content ahead of time. You know, so when you send a release plan, it also motivates them to support you in ways that they can. What else do you put in a release plan? Yeah, every single thing. Social media plan. If you're planning on working with influencers, you'll also include that. You know, if you're planning on shooting a documentary, you'll include that. So a release plan is very detailed, because this is also something that you can send to sponsors for support. Like if you're having a listening session that you've included in your release plan, you know, you can send it to sponsors to be like, yo, this is my release plan, this is what I'm planning to do for my upcoming release. I'm having a listening session, it's also in there, but I need your support, I need sponsorship, I need you to come with welcome drinks, riders, So yeah, include social media plans, marketing plans, PR plans, spend that you're gonna spend on anything, whether it's ads, spending on YouTube, paying influencers. So that would be a detail. So what are the benefits of a release plan? So the benefits of a release plan, pretty basic, pretty simple. A release plan allows you to plan ahead of time, to keep a schedule. A release plan allows you to maximize on marketing tools, any tools that will help you with the success of your release. A release plan enhances those chances. So a release plan just helps you stay on track, track also, measure the campaigns that you're busy with. So yeah, that is basically the benefits of a release plan. It helps you execute your release accordingly. It's very important to have a release plan because you can always go back to it. You can always go back to your release plan and check what you missed for that release. Also for your next release, it's also a good marker. So you are able to compare your next release to your previous release based on your release plan. So if you know that a certain part of your release plan did not work out on your previous release, then on your next release you know what you need to improve on. So it also sets a mark of a success mark. It will help you improve as you go. So yeah, it's the benefits of having a release plan are plenty, but it's just so you are organized, so you are on time, and so you maximize your tools, and also set some kind of mark for yourself in terms of your campaigns and your success. And I feel like a release plan will also help you measure your milestones in your career, because if you know that with this release, this is what I did, and that video is number one on whatever platform, you have an idea of how well your previous material did based on the plan that you had and what you need to improve on moving forward. So it's very, very beneficial having a release plan. If you don't have a release plan, you'll find yourself panicking, everywhere, all over the place. Now you're thinking of something, you want to implement it then and there, not understanding that you have to plan for things. With DSP pitching, you need 4 weeks in advance to pitch for playlists. So if you're releasing on the 16th of December, you pitch 4 weeks before that date. So release plan will also help you with that. As you finish with certain tasks, you can also scratch out. So it just keeps you it keeps you sane, because releases can be very hectic, and it's always best to plan ahead, to know what you've done, what you still need to do. So having a release plan is very beneficial. It also helps with planning. It just eases the weight of an artist's shoulders. You're not constantly stressing about what's next, because you know what's next. Our last point is how to implement the release plan. How to implement the release plan to your release. So firstly, you need to make sure that you have the resources that you've included in your release plan. So if you know that you want to submit the song to radio, you have to either have us, Onehornedhorsemedia, do the submission for you, or you have to have the contact list. You have to have the numbers, the emails, know the correct format to send out the radio submission. So to implement your release plan, you have to have the resources. And most of the resources I'm talking about, it's literally knowing people. I think it's very important as an artist to know who does what where. And that is also Music Business 101. Building relationships is very important, and building relationships and having those relationships is the main way is the way to implement your release plan. So how you implement your release plan is you make sure that you have the resources and tools that you need to accomplish what you have planned, and that's pretty much it. You can't have a release plan and not have the proper resources to implement it. Like I mentioned, the radio thing is one, sending out a newsletter, press release, for example, DSP pitching. You just have to have those resources. So that is literally the only way you can implement a release plan. Otherwise, just make sure that you stick to the schedule. That's another way of implementing it. Make sure you stick to the plan. If you said that on this week on this day you are releasing the artwork, then do that. But implementation just needs resources. So whatever you plan, make sure that you do something to make sure that it is successful. So if you know that you don't have the DSP, you don't know how to pitch to DSPs, but it is in your release plan, then make sure that you find out how you pitch to DSPs. With Apple Music, it's very easy. There's a link, you can request the link and you pitch via the link. With Spotify, I think it's via email. So just have the resources, and if you don't have, make sure that you do the research to make sure that you're doing the right things, if you don't know how. But yeah, I really hope that was helpful. It was very organic. It was simple, easy. I don't want to make it too technical. So I tried to keep it as easy and understandable as possible. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode. I hope it was insightful. Please leave your comments. I'd really appreciate it. I'd like to know how you guys feel about these videos. If you guys would like to see some improvement. I know the quality is not top notch, but please bear with us. We are working on improving the quality of our videos. But yeah, please share this video with your friends. Make sure you turn on your notifications to get updates on our new content, latest content, and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys soon.